All right, I think next year is going to be the year for Pawpaws. Check it out. Found a couple flowers on this one. There's even a couple flies flying around it. They're not open yet. They're like kind of like a deep purple. Let's see if I can get this to focus. Yeah. Some of them are a little bit closer to open, like this one. Oh, it won't focus. Okay, well, you get the idea. There's a couple of them on there. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, give or take. And I'm like, let's say 5'7". This tree is probably, I don't know, I want to say 7 feet now, maybe a little bit taller. And this one is Wabash. Wabash? it's from the East Coast. So, and I believe it's named after either a tribe or a it's either a tribe or like a river, I think. Oops. There we go. So this is my my pawpaw that's gotten the biggest, fastest, and it's close. It's interesting because it's closest to the house, and it's getting the least amount of sun. So I guess it's been stretching because of that. And it's also actually shaded by this birch tree, which I'm planning on, I think, cutting back a little bit because I want these to be the overstory, not the birch trees. But so I've got, let's see, got a second one over there, third one, fourth one, fifth one, and then a little tiny seedling back there, 6. And again, this one that's closest to the house that's getting shaded the most is also pretty tall. I'd say this one's probably maybe a little bit taller than me, so it's maybe 6 foot. And it hasn't flowered yet, but I'm thinking that it's close. So, because that Wabash, I can't say that name. It flowered right around this time, so, or around this height. So I'm thinking that next year is the year that both of these will flower, and then we'll get pollination, hopefully, and get to try these pawpaws. And these are both, actually all of them I believe are Peterson's pawpaws, although I do think we have a sunflower in here somewhere. I believe this one's mango. This one also doesn't appear to be flowering, but I've tried to make a promise to myself to water them more so that they get a little bit larger faster, because I think we've had these, I think these were one of like the first things I planted, so they should have been a lot bigger than this by now. But you know, it is what it is. I trying to be conservative with the water, but it's not helping the trees. So we've got the largest one over there, that's the most shaded, a little bit shorter. This is more or less shaded, actually. Got a chestnut here that I planted from a seedling. This is a cross between Mara de Valdasusa and Silverleaf, so this should be interesting to see what that does. And then the shortest one over here receives the most amount of sun. So I've heard various things that people have said over the years about what to do with these pawpaws. People like put shade cloth over them, all kinds of stuff to get them to, you know, get past that period where they're sensitive to the sun. They're an understory tree, and they very much seem to prefer light shade, even dark shade. But like, well, I mean not dark shade, but like a lot of shade. Like, I mean, the house shades this thing like all the time. I think maybe at like the peak of the summer, this thing gets a little bit of sun. But it would get a lot more sun if it was taller than the house. But that's, I don't know how tall the house is, maybe like 30 feet. So it'd need to get a lot bigger. And then I think this one might be sunflower. I don't know, I have tags on here somewhere. Anyway, I'm rambling a bit, but the thing I'm excited about is that potentially next year, these things could line up and we can get some pawpaws. And that's exciting because Peterson's Pawpaws are supposed to be really awesome. And I've tried, I think it was Peterson's Pawpaws at a tasting event a long time ago. And well, I mean, I remember being impressed, and then I bought a couple, so here they are. So they look like they're about ready to leaf out, time to get going on spring. Here we go. So I'm gonna try and water them a little bit this year, a little bit more. And what I've been doing is just taking that 5-gallon bucket and just filling it up and just dumping the entire 5-gallon bucket on this just once a week. And that seems to be like relatively good enough. I think the trick with these things is to like continue to water them. Like our pattern is that it'll rain until like, let's say May or June, and then it starts to taper off. And while it's tapering off, the trees are still going fine, but like they hit this period where they're like, okay, it's too dry, I'm gonna go completely dormant, and they won't put out any more leaves. The little bud at the end of the stem will just kind of like go dormant, and then they'll just sit there until the fall. And I think that's why they are so small. I mean, we've been here since 2015, so this is year 8, I think, and I probably put these in like maybe the first year. I don't know, it was pretty early, so they might be like 6 years old at this point. They're pretty darn short for 6 years old, except for this one, which is starting to look like a tree. And there's pawpaws actually at this place called McMenamin's, which is right around the corner from us. It's about a mile away, maybe a little bit further, maybe a couple miles. Anyway, it's like a 2-minute drive, and they've got pawpaws that are like, I want to say the trunks are as big as those birch trees. They must be much older, and they yield some pretty big amounts of fruit every year. I haven't gotten a chance to try it, but it is pretty cool that like, oh, I should explain. McMenamin's is like a restaurant, kind of like, I don't even know how you would describe it. It's like an adult playground. They're like, they've got wine bars and restaurants, and they make their own wine and beer and spirits, and like, it's just crazy. And they have a movie theater. It's like on and on and on. But anyway, they have like a little demonstration food forest in the middle of the edge field that's near us. And they've got some pawpaws there. Like I think there's 2 or 3 of them, and they're big. Anyway, they're a cool plant. They don't really like our dryness in the summer, but they are hanging in there. So I think like I was saying before, I think the thing is to catch them before they go dormant, and just to keep them moving forward until, well, just like extending it further into the year, and then we can get some good growth out of them. And I think, well, I don't know. It's like I've heard from the permaculture orchard guy, Steven Sipkayak, that branches need to be more horizontal before they start fruiting. But like, you could see that these are going up at a 45-degree angle. And for apples, pears, like things in the rose family, they all seem to follow that pattern, but maybe pawpaws don't. I mean, look at this one right here. It's like right on the center trunk. So I don't know. They just don't seem to follow the same pattern. I'm thinking that maybe it's either a number of years or like how big the tree is, or I don't know, something like that. Yeah, I'm rambling, but like, it's pretty exciting that these might happen soon. I'm looking forward to trying them. The only thing that's kind of scary about these is that the branches are, these are not very big. They're about the size of like a number 2 pencil. And the pawpaws can get up to like a pound, I think. So they can get pretty big. Like that could potentially snap some branches. And I heard that pawpaw wood is not exactly the strongest wood. So I might have to put some supports under these. But overall, they're doing fine. They're hanging in there. Northwest is not their favorite, but they're doing it. All right. Yeah, I'm just kind of wandering around today and checking out things, doing some observations, and that's kind of what I like to do. Just kind of, look around, check things out, see what's going on, make some observations, and learn a couple things. These are currants. These are currants that we just pruned and just stabbed into the ground, and that's it. These things are so darn easy. You just put them wherever you want them, and look how many flowers they have on them. Amazing. So they make a good like understory for our little guild here. We've got currant, comfrey, got a hazelnut, which probably the squirrels planted, and then a pawpaw in the center, which will be the overstory. And then these nitrogen fixing bushes, which are autumn olives. And these will probably be sacrificial in a way, I think. It's like they're very bushy right now, but like if you look over here, the ones that are more shaded, they're less bushy, they're kind of stretching a little bit. I don't think they like all this shade. And I imagine once these pawpaws get big enough that they'll shade all this out and they'll all die. Which is, you know, a bit unfortunate, but they are, and they were always supposed to be, a bit sacrificial. And then we'll probably try and find some like understory nitrogen fixing plants that can handle quite a bit more shade. So anyway, that's all I got for now. Spring is happening and quite exciting.